Irish whiskey has been the fastest growing international spirits category for the last number of years. By the end of 2009, total sales of Irish whiskey will be in excess of 4 million cases or 48 million bottles. Irish whiskey's growth has been led by Jameson, which is owned by Irish distillers Pernod Ricard. Jameson sells about 3 million cases worldwide or 36 million bottles. In fact, one bottle of Jameson is sold somewhere in the world every single second. Jameson's most important market is the United States, where sales are expected to top 1 million cases or 12 million bottles by the end of 2010. The second largest selling brand of Irish whiskey is Tullamore Dew, which is owned by C&C International. Tullamore Dew is the largest selling Irish whiskey in many Central and Eastern European countries, including Germany, the Czech Republic and Bulgaria. Both Jameson and Tullamore Dew are triple distilled at the Middleton Distillery in County Cork, which is Ireland's largest distillery and one of only 4 distilleries in Ireland, compared with over 100 whisky distilleries in Scotland. Diageo, the world's leading premium drinks business, owns the Bushmills Distillery in County Antrim, which is a single malt distillery. The Irish-owned company Cooley Distillery has its main distillery on the Cooley Peninsula in County Louth and has recently begun distilling again on a small scale at the old Kilbeggan Distillery in County Westmeath. Cooley Distillery won the prestigious World Distiller of the Year award from the International Wine and Spirit Competition in 2008. So why is Irish whiskey so popular throughout the world at present? Fundamentally, it tastes great. The master distillers in Ireland are very creative when it comes to making whiskey styles for blending, which they do by varying the amount of malted and unmalted barley used, by distilling twice or 3 times, and by using different types of oak casks which have previously held bourbon or sherry for maturation. In fact, in Ireland, 3 distinct styles of whiskey are produced compared to only 2 in Scotland. Pure pot still, which is unique to Ireland, single malt whiskey and grain whiskey. Jameson is a triple distilled blend of pure pot still and grain whiskey. Its colour is golden. On the nose, it is clean and crisp, unlike Scotch whiskies, which tend to have a smoky aroma. There's a hint of sweetness, which comes from the fact that Jameson is predominantly matured in used bourbon casks. On the palate, Jameson is firm and oily. Spiciness comes from the pot still content at first, but is balanced by a slightly sweet finish from the small amount of sherry cask used in maturation. It is exceptionally smooth. Jameson, like other Irish whiskies, can be drunk neat or on the rocks, but is also an excellent base for mixed drinks and cocktails. Tullamore Dew is a blend of all 3 styles of whiskey produced in Ireland: pure pot still, single malt and grain whiskey. On the nose, there's a mild blend of spicy, lemony and malty notes, with charred wood and vanilla undertones. The body is light, with sweetish spices, buttery, and rounded with light citrus fruitiness. The palate is warming, pleasant maltiness, with toasted wood and vanilla hints. With a smooth and gentle finish, the complex flavours linger. By contrast, Connemara from the Cooley Distillery has smoky peatiness on the nose, balanced by hints of honey and dried fruits. Its taste is silky smooth, with a honey sweet start followed by malt and fruit flavours, giving way to full-bodied peat. The finish is long and glorious, with golden honey notes and a deep peaty finish. The history of beer most probably goes back at least 5,000 years to ancient Egypt, although there are also historical references to beer in China at around the same time. The Egyptians taught the Greeks how to brew. The Greeks in turn taught the Romans how to brew. And with the coming of Christianity to Ireland in the 5th century AD, so too came the art of brewing. It's said that St. Patrick had a priest in his household called Mescan, who was the household brewer. In the early 1800s, there were over 200 breweries in Ireland, 55 of them in Dublin alone. By the end of that century, however, the total number had dropped substantially to about 50. The beer brands that remain today are among the best known in the world. 2009 sees the 250th anniversary of Guinness, which was founded in 1759 by Sir Arthur Guinness, who signed a 9,000-year lease on an old brewery in Dublin. At first, Guinness brewed both ale and porter, but a decision was made to focus on the more full-bodied porter style of beer in the very early years of the brewery. Guinness is now sold in over 150 countries throughout the world and sells about 10 million glasses each and every day. Beamish was founded in 1792 in Cork, on Ireland's south coast, and by 1805 had become the largest brewery in Ireland and the third largest brewery in the United Kingdom, which Ireland was still part of at that time. By comparison, the Murphy Brewery, also in Cork, is much more recent, having been founded in 1856. The extended Murphy family also owned at that time the distillery near Cork, where Jameson and Tullamore Dew Irish whiskies are now distilled. Stout, or porter, gets its dark colour from roasted barley. The barley is roasted at a temperature of 230 degrees Celsius for about 2.5 hours and mixed with malted and unmalted barley. It is then milled into a coarse flour and mixed with hot water. Brewer's yeast is added and fermentation takes place. During packaging, nitrogen is added, which gives stout its magical beauty. When served, the nitrogen bubbles are released, bringing the beer alive and creating the famous surge, settle and wonderfully creamy head. Just before enjoying, the final step is the perfect pour. On the palate, you get an initial malt and caramel flavour. Then you notice just how full-bodied stout is. And to finish, you get dry roasted bitterness. Irish cream liqueurs. What makes Irish cream liqueurs taste so good? It's all down to the ingredients. We've spoken already about the great whiskies Ireland produces, which is very important to create a high quality cream liqueur. So let's look for a moment at the cream element. Baileys, for example, always work with the same group of farmers, about 1,500 of them in total, to produce excellent quality cream. The cream is collected and used within 36 hours for maximum freshness. The cream that's used in cream liqueurs is double fat cream with a very high fat content of 45 to 50%. The cream and whisky are homogenized to form an emulsion. This is called a hot blend process, which prevents separation of the whisky from the cream during storage. Flavours such as chocolate or honey are added at this stage. No preservatives are required, as the whisky alone preserves the cream. Cream liqueurs will generally stay fresh for up to 2 years in the bottle. Cream liqueurs can be used in cocktails, but the way we like to drink them in Ireland is over ice. The best known brand of Irish cream liqueur is Baileys, which was created in the mid-1970s and is owned by Diageo. Today, Baileys sells about 100 million bottles throughout the world and is the world's 6th largest selling spirits brand. Carolans, which was first launched in 1979, is the number 2 Irish cream liqueur in the world. Some 8 million bottles are sold every year in over 90 countries, including the US and Canada. Just like whisky, cream liqueurs were invented in Ireland. They show that innovation is still very important in the drinks business in Ireland, and the secret of their success comes from using only top quality Irish ingredients. When drinking Baileys, always over ice, you will notice how the cream melts on the tongue, releasing the alcohol or whisky taste. You then get the taste of chocolate on the palate. Then, on the side of your cheek, you get the cream taste again, but this time it's different. It tastes like ice cream. So you get a number of different taste sensations, which lead to emotions of enjoyment. This is what the Baileys people call the organoleptic effect. Carolyn's too has excellent product quality with a more distinctive spirit note than Baileys and a very subtle honey flavour. With the aim of making the most delicious tasting Irish cream liqueur, Cool Swan is made using single malt Irish whisky, vanilla from Madagascar and cocoa from the Côte d'Ivoire.